This is Christopher Walken, here to warn you that this contains some explicitly foul language. And if you don't like that, then I'll put my foot in your throat.
The soundtrack's amazing.
Yeah.
The visuals are very, well done. And, the gameplay is super fun. And, because those three things are there, it's exceptionally good.
I could do it in a heartbeat and make millions, but it would feel like just gouging my soul out.
Yeah. Jurassic Park's a little more like DDR.
If Shrek is a fairy tale creature, can he actually own land and want to kick them off? Where did that come from? You have to make a lot of shit up to make good art.
Yeah.
That's just the truth, man. Welcome back to the Art for Art podcast. I'm AFA. I'm David, creative director, lead writer at dcm.works. I'm here with my co-host, Sam.
I'm Sam. I'm the lead artist of that same website you just mentioned.
That very same one, weirdly. We're joined once again by Ben, who just kicked his microphone, which is really gonna show up on that one. So I've already asked you the leading question, which is who are you? So I'm not going to repeat that.
Yeah.
Because you've already done that last week. But yeah, so welcome back to yet another podcast. If you're joining us for week 2, congratulations, you made it this far.
Wow. I'm going to be the bachelorette.
No, actually, I might make you week 3. There might be someone else in between. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I might split us up, so there might be someone else in between.
Well, suckers to whoever was on last week.
Fuck you.
It's me now.
Future guest, past guest. That's this Tarantino film already.
Yeah.
So last time with Ben, we talked a lot about video games and kind of the culture there. And I had a note, and I'll explain what happened and how we came to record another one.
We got halfway. We finished it. We realized.
Yeah. Look. So I had a note here, and I'll read it to you guys. I'll read you the note that I have in the doc that we had for last week. Last time we recorded it. It says, it's under the subheading of the contents, the ins and outs of what making art, of what you're making art about and what about art is good. And it's under talking about trends and sticking to roots and stuff and selling out and that kind of idea. And the dot point is to draw nudes or not to draw nudes. Classy versus rich. Then it is underscored with get Sam to fill this in. I really have no idea. Those were my notes to myself. It's highlighted in yellow. I didn't know what to say.
That's why I'm here.
And I forgot to mention it. And I realized that the two chaps sitting next to me decided that we actually wanted to do a whole podcast on this because we all have some very we have some very
selling out.
We have some really strong opinions on it. We really love selling out. It's gonna be a great title for a podcast. It's gonna be catchy. We're gonna get all the kids are gonna listen to this one because kids love porn and drugs.
Yeah.
I mean,
Back in my day,
so talk us through. I want to ask Sam specifically, just to sort of open up. Talk us through why you immediately were like, yeah, we need to talk about this. No, because I'm interested. Because to me, that's not an obvious topic that you would want to talk about.
Because I think in terms of being an artist, it's one of those very big, I guess you could call it a tier almost.
Contentious issue.
Yeah, where you're like.
Can you close the door? You keep talking.
Okay, yeah, where you're a little bit if you have the opportunity to say draw pornographic images for money, or anything like that, a lot of artists or a lot of people kind of still view that as smut, and they're not okay with it, and they think it's not creative, and that they think maybe
the stigma with it.
Yeah, there's a social stigma.
You have to start out with gay porn, like if they're doing the actual porn industry.
Oh, you really gotta you've got to start with gay porn.
No, okay, that's with male porn or male.
Well, hang on. We'll get into.
We'll get into male porn stars later.
Anyway,
Ben, you've jumped the gun, son.
Okay.
So talk us a little bit through that.
Well, basically, I guess it all just comes down to your morals, and it does come down to that whether you are you okay with drawing, nudes and pornography? And personally, yeah, I'm okay with that. if I could get paid to do that, I would.
There's a market.
Yeah, there's a huge market for it. A lot of people have gotten very rich off that sort of thing.
Yep.
But
probably the kind of thing where if you start it, then you get stuck in it.
We'll talk about that a bit later because that's the main point that I want to talk about. But I wanted to rehave the conversation we had. In chapter 3, and we're going to spoil it a bit if you're not up to chapter 3, but in chapter 3, or it might be chapter 5, I should know this.
There's a sex scene.
There's not actually a sex scene. There's sex that occurs, and...
I wanted to draw it.
And we sat down, and I was like, look, I just kicked the microphone, that's going to show up as well. No, I was like, look, there's a sex scene here, and, the conversation that we had was basically, do we want to draw this as a sex scene or not.
And I did.
And Sam was like, look, I do.
I came up with a creative way to do it without drawing like tits.
Yeah, and I was
Can't draw the tits.
I was like, no, I was like, look, I want to do the sex scene, but I don't want to have pornographic content on the site. And it's not because I'm particularly prudish or anything.
You just do like convenient censorship?
No, not even that, because that's the same thing as pornographic content.
I don't want to spoil it.
So
we
found a way to do it where it's still you get
the idea of what's happening.
It's hard to articulate.
I haven't
without
seen
spoiling
this,
it.
so
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, there's a sex scene that occurs between two characters, and we were like, Sam was like, look, I want to draw
Consenting
it.
adults.
Yeah, two consenting adults, and
That's
Sam
good.
was like, look, I want to draw it. Heterosexual, so boring.
Yeah.
You know, Sam was like, look, I want to.
straights.
Yeah, I want to draw it, and I was like, look, I don't think that's like, I just don't want to have that because it's gonna. Not because I don't want pornographic content on the site, but it's chapter 5, it's early days.
Plus, then it'll get banned in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, like, then it means that
Don't
there's
want
going to be
that.
issues with America and the UK, and, like, I just want to, we want to deliver to as many people as we can, and it's already, a lot of the content is pretty contentious because it's satirical, it takes a piss out of some pretty popular franchises. So I was like, look, I don't want to do that just because there's a stigma with that, and then there's, difficulties getting it in certain countries and that kind of thing. And the other thing is that it means that it's no longer accessible by younger people if they're not into pornographic content or if that's censored for them through, I guess, like
young people
Net
not
Nanny or
into
something.
porn.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look, young people they love
Legally
porn.
access.
Yeah. So that was kind of a decision that we consciously made. I consciously made for you as no, well, because you are beholden to. I am the I have complete control
Your boss
of your
bitch.
entire life.
Yeah,
I tell you when to sleep and when to eat.
Yeah.
So I tell you whether to draw the tits or not.
Yeah.
But so part of that is we had that conversation, and I was tempted to be like, you know what, you make a good point, let's do it. But at the same time, we got to deliver to a certain audience.
Yeah.
So we actually had that conversation, and I want to kind of revisit your argument for why you wanted to do it, because I think it's really important that people understand that it's not about drawing tits.
No. Well, I think personally, I find people who demonize pornography and sex in general.
What do you mean by demonize?
Okay, so
Maybe use a little. I mean, that's very reductionist. Like, what do you
Yeah.
mean?
okay, well, people who think it's something we shouldn't be showing to kids or anything like that.
Yeah,
I do
okay.
agree to a certain point that we should.
No, but for argument's sake, we'll talk
Yeah.
about it as if it was,
But I don't think nudity and sex in general. It's a very natural act. Let's all be honest here. It's necessary to our survival as a species.
We clearly have different kinds of sex.
Yeah.
Nothing natural about what I do.
It's very natural, and I mean, nudity is incredibly natural. We're all born that way.
Yeah.
But I guess at a certain point, we're taught to kind of be ashamed of it, and that it's almost a shameful act to be nude or to have sex and things like that. And
Sure.
I mean, to a certain point, even I, I get awkward getting naked in front of certain people, like still, because that's how you're brought up and whatnot.
He's got a really weird looking dick.
Yeah, I
too.
get
weird things.
awkward as well when I get naked in front of.
Look, I get awkward in front of people when I'm wearing clothes. So like, never mind. I see where you're coming from.
But yeah, I think I love pornography. I love pornography.
What? Okay. What do you mean by that?
Are we talking like
Well,
porn industry pornography
I mean-
or just?
No, I didn't mean like what kind of porn. I meant like what do you mean by what? Like what do you mean you love pornography? What does that mean?
Well, okay, as someone, let me start off by saying I am in a relationship. I'm not single. So
Yeah.
in a way, it fulfills certain fantasies that I have and need,
Yeah.
like, i.e. other women, apart from my girlfriend.
Because you can't bang 3 Asian hookers when you're in a committed
Exactly.
relationship.
I mean, I love my girlfriend. I would
Sorry, that
never
was
cheat on
weirdly
her
specific,
because
I
I'm a very
apologize.
honorable and I'm a lovable guy.
I wouldn't
Alright.
have described you as either of those things, but yeah.
In nature, we're all hard-grained to reproduce, so both of you can't even lie to me on this. You look at a girl and you immediately break her down in physical attributes.
Look, let's be honest. That's, I mean, that...
A little bit pigeonholey there.
I mean,
a little bit,
yeah,
but,
look,
That's
I mean-
how we're wired.
Well, that's a different conversation. Just stick to what you mean by the fact that you love porn.
Okay.
let's pick this bit.
Because the minute you say that, I'm like, yeah, but then there's also like, no, that's not right. So continue.
I don't know. I just.
I also like that you assume that we're both straight.
Yeah.
We're
this
both, sorry,
is very true.
heterosexual. I'm sorry. Straight is reductionist.
Well, am I guessing
Straight
wrong?
reduction.
I mean,
You don't know me.
I figure I know you both.
I'm into
well
big
enough.
black dudes.
You
Yeah.
like the
I don't know. Well,
Huck Finn. My shit.
I like pornography because it's literally you can get anything.
Okay.
There's anything there.
So you like the freedom of what
the freedom of your wildest dreams.
If it exists, there's a fetish of it.
Exactly.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's
if you've got that kink where you're like, oh, maybe I want to look at this today.
I really like balloons.
Yeah. Do you like Bob's Burgers? Is that where you got that from?
No, I actually I don't know how I found it, but I found looning. Which is like, that's what it's called.
There's a Bob's Burgers episode
I've seen
all
that
about it.
Yeah, no, look, some people wanna have sex in clown face, but they don't date crazy people, so they have to go.
I mean, I found it pretty entertaining. It was pretty funny. It's just people popping balloons in their butts and shit. I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing.
Okay, all right, so so you like the idea that it's you can access things that you maybe don't have access to because of societal morals or self-constraints you put on yourself because you are in a situation where you cannot do something that you would otherwise want to do.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So that makes sense to me. That's like, okay, that's why you enjoy pornography, right?
Yeah.
And so the counter argument to that is, yeah, but most of that, like,
Porn industry's horrible.
Well, okay, let's hang on.
Porn industry's horrible.
We're not talking about the porn industry.
Okay, we're not talking about the porn industry.
So I want to point out a few things that we're not going to talk about. We're not going to talk about the state of the porn industry.
Okay.
Because that's a fucking one. We can have like
that's
8
another
podcasts on
podcast.
that, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about the idea of the biology versus nurture. Like, we're not going to talk about like sexuality at all. We're going to try and avoid that because obviously, like, we're all relatively progressive, but we're also stupid. So we're going to say something offensive if we talk about it. So like, we're going to fucking offend.
I probably already have said something offensive.
I mean,
if someone says something offensive, just replace it with
I'm pretty sure I just said I want to sleep with like every girl I see.
No, look, at least you're transparent about it. A lot of guys aren't, but that's fine. So, we don't want to pigeonhole anyone. So we're not going to talk about sexuality because we'll fuck it up. Because we're stupid.
Yeah.
So what I want to focus on is like the idea of like making art that is pornographic. So, okay, I'll talk, I guess I'll talk about my experience with it as a writer. So about 6 months ago, so bearing in mind at this point, I've been published a few times in literary magazines. So short stories mostly. I'm shit at poetry, so it's never going to happen. So short stories, excerpts from novels I'm working on, they publish as like experimental pieces. They're like, oh, this is a style that is, it's going to get really wanky and arty for a minute. But I'm writing this kind of genre pastiche of... A pastiche is like a mashup of different semiotic things. So it's like when you take a bunch of different tones and themes and you mash them together, like things that shouldn't go together. So a good example of a pastiche is like Assassin's Creed blends high sci-fi with like historical fiction.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's a pastiche.
Yeah.
Or like, I'm trying to think of something else. So like,
Stick Shift combines changing gears with homoerotic themes. Have you seen Stick
what?
Shift?
No.
It's a game where you jerk off your gay car.
What the fuck?
That's not what I mean.
What even?
That's,
It's
I mean, that
amazing.
sounds insane, but it's
not a really good
That's
game.
really a different thing. But so like a pastiche is like a blending of ideas or tones or
Yeah.
themes in a way that is like not natural. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I was writing this novel.
Jerking
It's
off a
like,
gay car doesn't make very much sense. I'm gonna be honest there.
well, it's really hard to jerk off a straight car.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
You
It's not really implied with the car. It's just like erotic
Anyway,
gear shifting.
I don't even know. So I'm writing this. It's like a blending of like, it's basically this combination of like dystopia plus a bunch of other things to like make to satirize the shitty dystopian thing and vampire thing that's happening, and the zombie thing. Like it's
What shitty like post-apocalyptic?
yeah.
Or
So like
dystopian?
post-apocalyptic, like Hunger Games, like
Oh yeah, that
but so like
dystopian,
making
yeah.
fun of
True.
basically like I was trying to like satirize like the Hunger Games, Walking Dead, anything zombie related, like, but also like a bunch of other stuff. And it was just this weird like pastiche of things, and it ended up being about sky pirates because it was the easiest way to do
Because of course.
it. No, it was the easiest way to do it. Like
Because of course.
like because I could have all those things in one world. And then I could make fun of like pirate fiction
Yeah,
as
but-
well, and then like also fantasy fiction and like a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah, but Sky Pirates.
Yeah, no, but it turned into this.
It's just
No, yeah, but it turned into this whole thing, and like I submitted like an excerpt from it to this literary magazine, and they published it. They published a few of my other things. There's Yellowbird magazine. You can look it up. It's in America. I don't know if they're online, but you'll probably get it through your Kindle readers or whatever it is that you access your magazine content
your
through.
Kindles and your
Oh,
iPods.
look, whatever
and
the
your
young people
Zibbity-babbity-bops.
your touch screens and whatnots that you kids are using. But part of that is that they approached me about 4 months later, and they were like, "We want to do an adult issue, and we want to publish
Smut.
Well, they said the words they used were erotic content.
That's like saying adult entertainment instead of just porn.
Yeah, but it's different when it's written because
you got to imagine the titties.
I'll tell you why actually is because I can give you I think it's actually worse when it's written because I can
Yeah, you can do some pretty fucked
because
up
I can do
shit.
some really fucked up things if I want to
and get away with it.
And get away with it.
Yeah.
Prosecuted.
Because it doesn't look like child porn.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't like
For instance, like
as an example.
if you were to write about
that's what I mean.
for instance, say if you
Yeah.
were to write about bestiality, it's completely legal. But if I were to draw bestiality, I would go to jail.
You've
You can
crossed the
draw
line.
bestiality. You just can't do
No,
bestiality.
in Australia, it's technically illegal.
Oh, really? You can't draw
Yeah.
it?
So
Huh.
but the
So,
legislation doesn't
that's
cover
odd.
writing because writing is you
Not
can't.
that I want to draw bestiality.
Disclaimer.
I just want to put that
Yeah,
one
no,
out there.
well, I think that's pretty obvious because if
Yeah.
you wanted to, you'd be doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, so they approached me and they were like, "Look, we want to do this erotic one, and you've published a few things with us before. Do you have any content that you previously not submitted because it was adult?" And I was like, "Look, no, because I have never written anything like that." And then I was like, "Wait, why haven't I?" And that was a question I had to ask myself. I was like, I've been doing this for since I was 12, so a while now. Obviously, it wasn't good back then, but I've been writing for a while, and so I was like, "Why has that not been a thing that I've done?" And so I evaluated the kind of writer that I am, and
Do
it's
people
honestly
who draw porn jerk off to their own stuff?
well, actually, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yes.
Because I have an anecdote about that you'll
Yeah,
enjoy.
I was gonna say.
So because I do but I'd never written anything about I'd never written any, stop doing it. It's gonna come up on the microphone, and I'm gonna have to scrub that shit.
Hey, he did it. You did it. Now.
yeah,
I've
but
done
you
it.
fucking rubbing the carpet for extended lengths of time with your foot just because you got cold feet.
Yeah.
Anyway, so so they approached me and I was like, "Look, I haven't," and so I evaluated why I hadn't, and I was like, "Oh, it's because I find it boring to
Yeah.
write about."
Yeah.
Is it because it's just too easy?
Yeah.
You just have
It's kind of
titties
like
and-
writing a vampire novel for teenagers.
titties, penis.
I could do it in a heartbeat and make millions, but it would feel like just gouging my soul out.
Yeah, true.
It sounds like a pretty cliched sellout thing, but stuff like that's really easy to do.
It's like the guy who has the biggest penis in the world.
Yeah,
He doesn't want to do porn because he feels it'd just be a
it'd
cop
just
out.
be easy. I could write like a teen book that would get published and would make me like a little bit of money in a weekend.
Yeah.
But it just kind of
It
what's the
wouldn't be
point?
good. Yeah.
Yeah, same thing with erotic stuff. It's it'd be really easy to do that.
Yeah. Like I can make Flappy Bird.
Yeah, Ben
I
can
don't
make
want
Flappy
to.
Bird. I could make you could make Candy Crush.
Yeah.
I could
Sorry,
draw
I meant
tits
Bejeweled.
all
I'm
day.
sorry.
Yeah.
You could make Bejeweled. I'm Candy Crush. I'm sorry. What, are they not the same thing? They're pretty much the
The
same.
candy,
thing.
the candy jewels.
Candy Jewel. But so part of that is that that's just not something that interests me. But to tell you an anecdote about the idea of enjoying your own art. So that's what you were talking about when you were do people jerk off?
Jerk
'Cause
off
if
to
you
their
think about it, so,
enjoying your own art. That just makes it seem not as bad.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So a good example is if you make sandwiches. Say you're a Subway sandwich artist. That's what you do full time. You're a
Yeah.
sandwich because they call them sandwich artists. You know?
Of course they do.
If you go home
They
and
are
make
sandwich artists.
if you go home and make yourself a sandwich, your friends are like, "You conceited fuck. You ate your own sandwich? You fucking kidding?" But if you're a musician and I get into your car and you're listening to your own music, I'm gonna be like, "You listen to your own music? What? That's conceited for some reason,
I think that.
right?"
I mean, if they were using. So the Subway artist, the Subway sandwich artist.
Yeah.
Can we just say indeterminate sandwich?
No,
artist? Do we
it's-
have to say Subway?
Yeah, they're sponsoring this podcast.
Because the sandwiches
Subway
suck.
sandwich-
Okay.
it's
for long.
Subway
It's just
sandwiches
crust.
suck.
$6 enter coupon code Subway.
Enter coupon code. Please don't sue us, Subway.
No, they. Anyway, so you're.
Wouldn't that
What were you gonna say?
wouldn't that only be if they used the same stuff that they use at Subway?
Would it? It's still a sandwich.
Well, I mean, if someone listens to their own music, they listen to the same thing that they give other people.
Mm.
So a sandwich, like a Subway sandwich maker going home and just making a sandwich, that's different because they're not consuming the same thing that they give to other people.
So as long as they're not using the same product.
Yeah.
So let's say they are, for argument's sake.
Okay.
I'm trying to make a point.
They have a Subway at home.
In this allegory,
Yeah.
no, they have the bay which you construct
Yeah.
the subway. They've got the
I think the first thing I would be was, why do you have a Subway bay in your house?
because
But-
I'm an artist. It's it'd be like if I wrote for a
and
living.
if they got
No,
a uniform
because,
to make a sandwich and
No,
everything.
look, my point is the point of that allegory is if I wrote for a living and I had a space where I went to write and I came home and I read my own books in my office. And you were like,
And assuming you
were
weren't
like,
working.
why do you have a Subway in your home? It's like, because it's what I do. It's what I do for a living. Like, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess my point there is like there are certain things where it's apparently conceited to like consume your own art,
I don't think it's conceited. I think it's
or it's like people
odd.
think it's weird.
Well, I mean, for video games, it's not weird at all. It's actually completely normal.
Yeah,
Because
you have
most
to
people
play
who make
your own
games make them for themselves.
Well,
'cause
yeah,
it's
but
fun.
like I mean, the other thing is like to make any art, you have to consume it yourself to make sure it's not shit.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
true.
Like I read my own books all the time and I hate them, but because you have to do it to get it to
I'd
a
have to
point.
draw with my eyes
It's-
closed.
Yeah, no, that's
I
exactly
suppose it's
it.
the difference
But-
between consuming something while you're working,
Mm,
like as part of your work,
Yeah.
or just doing it like, what's the other word?
recreationally.
That's the one. Thank
Wow.
you. Recreationally.
Yeah, so, I mean, going back to what you were asking, which is like the people... So if I wrote erotic content that I found arousing, if you will. No, because that's... I mean, presumably I must if I wrote it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why would I guess I could be writing it for someone else. But...
You'd be like,
let's-
this is some weird fucking shit.
No, but for argument's sake, like I've I've written my like personal fantasy. So like I've written this content that I find arousing, and I want like, is there a potential for me to be like, oh, this is like you're reading it, you're like, oh, it's time, you know? Does that happen? And the answer is, turns out yes.
Alright.
All right, so this bloke that I almost had working for me. This isn't the reason he didn't end up working for me. He ended up moving countries, not to get away from this either. He's not a criminal at all. But I was talking to him, and he was a writer, and he's a really interesting writer as well. But we were just talking one day about the kinds of things that we had written, and he was like, "Yeah, I did this slew of." It was like a series of erotic stories that followed one character for a magazine. So like they published one in a column each week. And so then the housewife
Just
would-
like his sexual escapades or
well,
some shit.
yeah, like this character going around banging all these women or whatever it was. You know, it was for like a middle-aged
Yeah.
women's magazine. You know,
Oh, okay.
that kind of thing, like Women's Weekly.
Wow, what did we put in Women's Weekly?
I don't know.
The
Whatever you might consume that week to week. In your and he had a column that he would have to write, and this story that if
Smut
unfolded-
Weekly.
Yeah, basically.
Penthouse.
Penthouse. Well, no, the same thing. It's like a penthouse forum, I
Yeah.
assume. I actually just realized I have no idea how that works. But
Really?
I
Never
Really,
read a porn
David?
mag before?
no, but like, do they have like a website?
No, it's okay. So
Like, I mean, don't explain the ins and outs. Because do they have like
Explaining
weekly
porn, what's
columns?
that?
it's not. They do sometimes have weekly columns. A lot of the time, they have like you could submit your own stories, which are supposedly like your own sexual experiences. Everyone knows they're fucking fake.
Oh, okay.
Like, there's no way.
Yeah, like the
they're real.
secretary I fucked, and in
and then,
reality
like,
you're 40 and overweight.
Once a year, they'll release like a best of compilation, which is
Okay.
literally just instead of like pictures of pornographic women, it's literally just all those stories.
That's cool.
Like,
Yeah. So
Yeah,
they
the
bank that
collection.
together.
What a
the best ones.
shitty one, like, shitty if you fucking be like, it's the only one you have, you're like, motherfucker, it's just
oh,
stories.
there's still like there's still like little pictures like
There's a fucking sticker
side
on the front that
pictures
says
of
best
women
of,
and stuff
so,
like
you
that.
know.
It's just not there's no spreads.
Oh,
Is it
but-
called like a magnifying glass or something?
in more ways than one.
Yeah. That's a pun, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
But I have no. Oh yeah. So this guy was like talking about this writing he's done. He was talking about the fact that he's doing this column, and I was like, oh, that's a really weird thing to do. He's like, yeah, but they pay you a lot because no one wants to do it.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, oh, that's really weird. Like, I wouldn't be able to do that because I just don't find it interesting enough. He was like, oh, it's fine for me because I could just jack it all the time. And I'm like, oh god, I need to know that.
No.
And then he went to America.
And then he left.
He's probably listening to this now, actually. So you know who you are.
Weird
Good.
motherfucker.
Off that though, that's probably the biggest reason I would, I guess you'd say sell out, and I would just draw porn for the rest of my life. The
Yeah.
money.
Just for the
There's-
money.
there's
I thought you were
some-
gonna say for yourself.
Oh fuck
You never
no,
have
man.
to buy porn again.
No,
I make my own
shit,
porn.
no, I like real. I like real porn.
That's a fucking contradiction in terms right there.
Oh yeah, look.
That's like I really like real wrestling.
I like I like flesh.
I really like real Walking
put it
Dead.
that
No,
way,
no,
um,
you don't. Like you don't.
Look, well, basically, like, yes, I enjoy a bit of porn every now and then. I would not do it for free. I would not draw
Okay.
Yeah.
tits and dick and sex for the rest of my life for free. I would do it for large amounts of money.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And I would be happy.
So you're a whore.
And
You're
I-
just a sellout whore.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
That's good.
I think everyone
That's a
is.
good way to be.
Well, shit, man. Like,
No, I just wasn't being facetious. It's a good way to make
there's
millions.
really like, in my opinion, I'd say that's why most of them do it. I don't think, unless I don't know any of the people who make big bucks off it.
Look, I haven't chatted to those hentai artists, but I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
Like they probably do.
Pretty sure they hate themselves for doing it, or they
do it for the cash.
Like, why else would you do it?
They don't do it because they're sexual deviants who get off on that sort of thing.
I mean, they could, but like,
they
must
could.
like at least enjoy doing it to some degree.
Okay, well, let me propose an alternative.
I enjoy the money.
The money would be nice.
I think there's an alternative reason you do it, and the only way I can think of explaining it is through an allegory. So, a good example of someone that makes really good content, but they kind of do that thing where they make it a bit clickbaity on the surface. So a good example is like say there's a
like
YouTube channel.
YouTuber ever.
Yeah. So I was thinking specifically of Funhouse because they do like colorful thumbnails and they have like titles and caps sometimes, and they sometimes throw in sensational buzzwords.
Yeah.
And they've talked about it a lot because people have accused them of being clickbaity and stuff. And they're like, yeah, but like, look, we make content because we want it to be consumed. And if that means that we have to have a colorful thumbnail and have a stupid title, and you click on it and watch it, great, because we want as many people to consume it as we can.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of why we're doing it. Yeah. So there's a potential for these artists to be like, look, I want people to see my art, but the only way to do that is to make it with... So like, they're like, oh man, I really want to draw like manga, anime stuff. But for some reason, the only way to get that out there is that there has to be nudes, or it has to be erotic. So there's a potential there that they're like, well, at least someone is seeing my art. You know, at least it's getting out there.
I think
there's a potential avenue there where that might be some of the reason for some of them.
Well, a better way of doing it rather than being like, I want people to see my art, but, you know, if you don't necessarily want them to see porn, you want them to see, say, if porn isn't your art, you want them to see your art, which could be something vastly different. You could be into, like, landscapes or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would, but you could be into something like that.
No, you could do concept art for a living, like environmental.
Yeah, well... Really, if you have the opportunity to do porn and they're willing to pay a lot for it, you could go the additional route of you do that and you take the money and you don't necessarily have to show the fan base that you want to build that side of your artwork. You could just pour all that money you got from them into advertising for yourself to show them the artwork you do want.
And have a separate identity.
And have a separate identity. I mean...
Well, lots of writers do that where they have separate pen names for separate kinds of books.
Like, for instance, like... I do film and television work as well. Like, a bit of that stuff. I actually just finished making a documentary about porn. Fun enough.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
What's it called?
What's it called so they can look it up?
Porn Crazy. It's on YouTube.
Just YouTube it.
YouTube Porn Crazy. I was the director.
It's his faces. You can find his face.
Yeah, and I was the interviewer, actually, as well. But basically, with that... It's basically with film and television. Say you end up interning for like something you don't actually want to do, like you're shooting for the news or some shit like that. But really, you want to make Martin Scorsese films, or some crap like that. Basically, you've just got to stick with what you got, get the experience, get the cash under your belt, get all that crap, and then take those contacts and like the people you've met and all the cash you've made. And pour it into what you really want to do. So sometimes you have to make those sacrifices.
You got to make the shitty AAA stuff.
You got to do something you don't want to do, so you can do something you want to do.
It's the same thing with making games, but it's more on the sort of like experience side, especially if you're doing it solo. You really do have to make 50 versions of Pong before you can make like your big open world epic. And even then, you're probably not going to make a big open world epic.
You've got to make shit. Well, like, there's a good rule, which is you have to make a lot of shit art to make good art.
Yeah.
That's just the truth of it. You make it like you have to write a lot of bad shit to write. Like the rule is like 10-90. 90% of what you write, you throw out. 10% you keep. Yeah. That's with any art. 90% of it is shit. But the point is that you've made enough that you can find the 10% that's good.
Yeah, it's the law of big numbers.
Yeah, it's why when we sit down and Sam draws something for me and I'm like, I mean, it's not bad.
Like if
he's
you
like, I don't like it, and I'm like, fuck you, I quit.
Yeah, and then he's like, wait, no, it's not.
Like if 0.1% of your stuff is good, do it 1,000 times. You'll get one good thing.
Do as much of it. Make as much art as you can.
Yeah.
All the time. Like, actually, a good rule is do something every day. Like, do one thing every day. I have a rule, which is that I have to write at least one sentence every day. That doesn't sound like much, but some days it's like, that is impossible.
Yeah.
But other days I'll write like 50 pages.
Same with making games. If you like, if you spend like a whole day, it's like, oh, I'm gonna like fix this one really tiny thing that doesn't actually really change anything, then like you'll spend all that time. By the end of it, you'll be like, nothing's changed. You'll just be like, fuck this.
Yeah.
It's dumb. But if you just like, I'm gonna add this, and it's gonna actually do something. You finish it and it works. You're like, cool. It's
You're
new.
like, I achieved a thing.
Yeah.
And the way that I do that is I have a calendar, and every single time I do that, so I cross it off every day, and it's actually Jerry Seinfeld. First, no, Jerry. Like, someone was like, okay, so if you don't know, so Jerry Seinfeld was like, look,
you write a joke every day.
Yeah, and they were like, how do you have so much material? Because he kept doing stand up and he was writing Seinfeld, doing all this stuff, and they were like, no other comedian is making as much as you are. How do you do it?
Deal with that line?
What's the deal with Jerry Seinfeld?
Yeah, and so they were talking to him, and they were like, how do you do it? And he's like, oh well, I have this rule, which is that every single day I don't break the chain. And they were like, what's that? And he goes, well, I have a calendar in my office.
Well, I have a bunch of people linked mouth to ass.
And they can't break the chain. And it's still funny. That's where I got my inspiration. But he has a calendar, and every single day he crosses it off. And he's like, I use the motivation of the fact that
you've done it for
I've done it for however long. Yeah. And it's like, I've been doing it for like 4 years now. So I have 4 years worth of calendars that I've crossed. So I'm not going to miss a fucking day.
The hardest part about that is starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you've crossed one day off, you're like missing one day won't change anything, and then suddenly you just...
Oh, look, I've got to the point now, if I missed a day, that'll be it. I missed one day, but I consciously was like, I'm going to go spend this day, because I have to go and do a bunch of things that are like I had to go to a funeral and then a wedding. And I was like, this is like a day where
That is a weird series of events.
Yeah, it was just weird, because it's a fortuitous timing that meant that I could just wear the same suit. So, I just changed the color of my tie.
Like, sorry, my suit is covered in death right now.
No, I changed the tie. I took the black one off. I took the black one off and put the blue one on. That was basically what I just got in the car and changed my tie.
That's pretty funny.
It was weird. But no, like that was the day where I consciously broke the chain.
Yeah.
But I wrote as much the previous day as I could to make up for it. So it was fine. But like you just have to start doing it and you start making art. And like I guess
I'd almost argue that like making up for it the next day isn't good. Because then you could get into the habit of just like, oh, just miss 2 days and then do 3 days work on one day.
Yeah, but that's why that's why I didn't do it until I had like at least done 3 years.
Yeah.
Because I knew that and you also know that you're not going to do it again.
Yeah.
Like if you do it for like a month, I wouldn't have done that because it would have fucked me up.
Yeah.
You just got to commit, and once you've committed, that's it. Like even if it's like, oh, I'm gonna draw like one line, or I'm gonna color, I'm gonna like do half an arm, or I'm gonna do a quick doodle of someone's body. You're like, well, at least I did something today. And then like you build up this bank of stuff that you've made. And the other thing is you get a portfolio.
Yeah.
Of things that you made that aren't great, but at least you have stuff.
Yeah.
The worst thing is like, oh, you really want to do art, and you've made a bunch of art, but you haven't really like kept it together, and it's not really like consistent. And then you want a job, and you're like, oh, all I have is like 4 good pictures.
Yeah.
Instead, you can be like, I have these 4 great pictures, but look at all this other stuff that I've done that shows that I'm making.
Yeah.
So
that's actually like one of the cardinal rules of making art. Never ever throw out anything you ever do.
Ever.
Always hold on to it.
I have like 12 versions of Pong in about 12 different languages.
Nice.
And they all work. And that's like...
It's a good lesson.
It's the issue of me learning how to make games about 12 times.
Yeah.
Because it's just, and like, it's like I'd put them all in my portfolio just to be like, yeah, I know like all these languages.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, you really just have to not miss a beat.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, that's something that we always talk about with, like, productivity particularly. Like, it's really tough. And I'm pretty lenient with the team at the moment because I've been pretty busy organizing the studio. Like, this has been fucking ages in the making. Like, just organizing everything. The acoustics haven't even arrived. Like, it's... That's how, like, I've spent months organizing
We're reverby as fuck right now.
Yeah, there's no bass traps because there's
a fuck me that hard.
Amazing. Yeah, like, it's really frustrating, but... the next time, like, I've just been so busy. So I've been pretty lenient. I've been like, look, you guys take your time because it's not like you can come in and record because the studio isn't set up yet.
Yeah.
So I've been pretty relaxed about that. But, like, I'm always on Sam. I'm like, I need to see what you've done. Yeah. I'm like, look, it's been 24 hours. All I need is like, oh, here is an update. Like, I just needed to be like, yeah, I've drawn this extra line. And I'm like, good, at least it's still working.
Which can be a pretty big problem for me because I lead a pretty busy life.
Yeah, and everyone...
more so recently than...
Yeah, totally. And it's like
previously.
everyone does stuff with themselves. Yeah. But the important thing is like you keep track of yourself and you're like, I'm gonna do at least one thing today.
Yeah.
And it's like even if it means like some days like last night I got really fucking wasted. So I went out to a friend of mine's mum's place, and she had lots of really expensive wine, and we just got fucking tits up. Like, I just got plastered on white wine, which I have to drink a lot to get plastered. But I was like, I know I'm going out tonight, so I woke up half an hour early in the morning and wrote for 10 minutes.
Speaking of getting drunk or intoxicated, there's a point on like along the line of alcoholness.
Oh, where you get really good.
Where you get really good.
Oh, yeah.
And you really got to teeter on that point.
Oh, you got to tease
make
that.
some beautiful.
You can tease it for
make
hours.
some beautiful stuff.
Well,
I've written assignments on that, and you wake up the next day and you're like, it all works, but it shouldn't. And then you hand it in, and then just like, yeah, you solved some fucking problem with like, and you're like, what the?
you're like,
fuck?
look, I don't know how you did it.
Yeah. It's like your code made no sense, but it worked. So
No, that's the best thing is they look at it. They're like, I don't understand. Like, none of the you've got a lot of open elements, but they all like, I don't know, it works.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're like, you've got so many open tags. How does it? You're like, I don't.
It just works. Yeah.
But like, I mean, that's. I suppose we'll talk about intoxication for a minute because because I think it's a really important part of like a lot of artists think it's.
We talking about alcohol intoxication or other intoxication?
No, alcohol.
I can
Because,
cover the other.
I mean, the other is still pretty important.
but we're not going to for a lot of
because
reasons.
it's illegal here.
Because it's illegal in Australia. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and there's some issues there with as well as internationalization.
It's okay. We'll just
There are
say,
some things you can't talk
just
about.
say-
If I did do this particular drug,
Yeah, which
Things
we'll-
will-
here's how the night would have played out.
Okay, but we'll talk about the idea of maybe not specifically drugs, but using substances to do things in your art.
Tried it before.
So, but I meant like even something as simple as like I had a really long day, so I had a beer and then I had like a double super iced coffee
Yeah.
because I've been up since 5:30 this morning.
I
So like that to me is I'm using that to enhance my performance.
I once made a prototype when quite smacked off proper prescription oxycodone because I had had surgery. So it's all right. It was legal.
Okay.
And I finished it
Yep.
and then just like fell out of my chair and went to sleep.
Yep.
And then woke up and it was just completely non-functional.
Yeah. No, look, we've all done
It
that.
made no sense. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, no, it happens.
I had to scrap the whole thing. It was like,
Yeah.
this isn't anything.
No, I have the problem when sometimes when I get too drunk when I'm writing,
Yeah.
I'll change tense by accident and I'll write like 10 pages. So like the Hendrix novels are in third person. They're in first person past tense, and I wrote an entire chapter in first person present tense.
I think I read that chapter.
Yeah, and I was like,
what?
how drunk was I? But like, it was really good writing. It was just completely wrong.
Yeah, that confused me as well. I
Yeah.
was like, is this like a flashback?
No, like it
section
was
or some
really.
shit?
I read it and I was like, oh, I did a really good job. It's useless.
Did you just go through and change every pronoun to
No,
past?
because that's not how writing works. That's not how writing works. Like that's not maybe like an assignment, I guess.
Yeah.
Not like actually writing. But I guess to kind of bring it back to the porn a bit. Because I
Bring
kind
it
of
back to the porn.
I gotta bring it back to the
Bring it
porn.
back to the point.
Yeah.
I guess I wanted to ask both of you because you'll obviously have a different experience with this with games.
Oh,
And I have a
okay.
specific
I thought you were
one.
gonna say with porn.
Porn, yeah.
No,
It's hella
Bad
different.
times with it.
I have a
Some
look.
dark
Some
times
weird
with
porn.
porn.
Like there was a while that we were on and off. Porn wanted to go somewhere. He wanted to do a job elsewhere. It was tough. But I have a specific example in mind, so I'll take us there in a minute. But with particularly with games and public media, that is like whenever anything. So say it's in a year's time and we're relatively successful.
Yeah.
It's never gonna happen. Say
Yeah.
Pipe dream.
So say that the Patreon's all up and running. We have enough money to
So
do
the
this.
year from now, and I actually have a game out.
Yeah, so Ben's published a game. We're actually we're doing this a lot more frequently. The first novel is in the middle of coming out.
I've quit my other job.
Yeah, I've quit my full-time job. We're actually
Yeah.
doing this.
I
for
have a
living.
job.
Ben's employed.
Ben has a job.
I no longer have to go into an office. This becomes the office. Great, ideal, right?
Yep.
We're doing that, and then I turn around and we start the second novel, and you're like reading it. You're like, that's really good. Like, it's
But it
great.
needs more tits.
No. But you're reading it. You're like, this is a great sequel. And no. And then
Needs
there's
more
this,
titties.
no. And then there's like just like sex scene after sex scene, and you're like,
What?
you're like,
What?
and I'm like, yeah, but like, because we're successful now, we can do this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I can finally do what I've always wanted to do. We can do these really interesting. I mean, like, it might be story related.
Is this
Full page spread.
Is this like me
full
making
colour.
like a Korean MMO where all the female characters just have titties everywhere?
No, but I'll tell you what it is like. No. I'll tell you what it is like. So we do this, and you're like, look, David, I don't think that. Like, that's good. That's really good. Like, we can't do that. because it's different than what we've been doing. It's
Okay.
tonally.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work. You can't just turn around and suddenly be making porn on.
Sure you
know.
can.
Sure, you can.
Look, we could, but we would lose a lot of people in the process.
Yeah.
So like, we wouldn't want to do that.
You gain a few weird ones.
Probably a lot of weird ones, right?
Yeah, a lot of weird
But so
people.
equally, like a company that kind of has never shied away from sex scenes would be someone like the Swedish guys who did The Witcher.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So what
On
they
top
did
of
was
a unicorn.
Yeah.
No less.
that was a weird. But it's
But
weird how they did it.
The Witcher is based on books,
Yeah.
and it is
Yes.
easier to get away with sex in books than
Correct.
it is in video games.
But the way that they did it was really interesting because they didn't romanticize the sex. It was just part of an interaction a lot of the time.
Yeah,
So
'cause
like
you
it just
paid for
happens
it
and then it's
usually.
done.
Yeah.
It's not like ooh like because like in a lot of video games, like a great example, Metal Gear Solid, like
Oh, when you just stare at a butt. for
just
the
all
whole
the
game.
tits and the butts,
Yeah.
and it's all like ooh look we're edgy, we put a butt in our game, and you're like fucking give me a break.
They put a
Whereas-
gay character in their game before like anyone else as well,
Yeah.
so you gotta give them that credit.
No, look, I did. It's just an example of something that has like
Was it really?
gratuitous.
A gay character that
sexuality.
pees everywhere. But
Well,
you know.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
You
That's
know.
not right.
But like, so part of that is like, in The Witcher, they just are like, well, it was a sex scene. What do you want from us? Like, they don't make a thing of it. They're not like, oh yeah, we're a game developer and we make sex scenes. They're like, no, we have a game and
The game developers the game that made sex scenes was God of War.
I've never played them, so I don't.
You haven't? They literally turned sex into a minigame.
Ugh.
Like a QuickTime event.
Well, so
In the
did,
game of QuickTime
so did
events.
Viva Pinata.
What?
So did Viva Pinata.
What?
So did
Viva-
Please
yeah,
explain.
coffee
Viva,
mod.
okay, so Viva Pinata.
Yeah, but that wasn't actually in the game.
You-
technically.
Yeah, but it was like
It was
kinda
in the
big.
game. Yeah.
How do you?
That was also after. No. What came out first, San Andreas or God of War?
Probably San Andreas.
Probably San
Have you
Andreas.
seen God of War compared to, like?
First one.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
Well,
it was
like,
after.
okay, so God of War
It
is
was well after.
it's a Greek tragedy, so of course there's gonna be
Yeah,
sex in it.
Obviously.
Like,
Like
they
look, I'm surprised there wasn't like people sleeping with each other's mothers and shit. Like,
Yeah.
because that's basically Greek.
What was the first game you saw titties in?
Oh,
Mine was Far Cry 3.
Duke Nukem 3D.
No, those don't really count. They're too pixelated.
Yeah.
Tits?
Like,
You pay a stripper to fucking take her top off, man. Those are tits.
It must have been Grand Theft Auto of some kind.
really, Far Cry 3 caught me way off guard. I was like, what? Titties in a video game?
Yeah, but they also didn't make a thing of it. There was
Yeah.
a sex scene in that. They didn't make a thing of it.
Yeah.
So we could do like in dcm.works, we could have a sex scene. It could just be a sex scene. It doesn't have to be a thing. We don't have to be like, oh yeah,
We've yet
we
to see penis in a video game, though.
huh?
We've yet to see penis in a video
GTA
game.
5.
You are yet to see a
GTA
penis.
GTA
There are
5 has
penises in
cock
video
in it.
games.
You see
Damn, I'm not
Trevor's
playing the
car.
right video.
You see some random guy. GTA 4. You see some. I think it's in the Ballad of Gay Tony.
Where
You
have I
see some
seen
dude's
penis?
dick.
I've seen penis recently.
Why do I have a photographic memory?
Yeah, why are you
for,
really good at
video
this?
game dick?
Because it's really infrequent in video
Video
games.
game cocks.
I feel like I've seen dicks in video games before. I can't think of where. But I've definitely seen a penis lately.
You know what someone's gonna do now? Someone's gonna do childbirth in the video game. GTA 6
Uh,
there's gonna be a
Fallout 3.
child.
Assassin's Creed 2 has
No,
childbirth.
but you're the baby in
Yeah.
Fallout 3. It doesn't really count.
Assassin's Creed 2 had a childbirth at the start. It was really uncomfortably long.
Oh yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
It was like it went on
It was
way too long.
super
And it was
uncanny
like, you had to
valley.
like you had
and
to
all the
like,
animations were like,
It was
really
it was
robotic?
really like it was too long.
Yeah.
It was really uncomfortable.
it's
and
like, what are we doing?
there was a quick time event too. Like you had to be the baby and not die. Like,
Yeah, you had to like breathe.
you had to
and
wiggle
kick.
and breathe. And I was
Are you
like,
serious?
I don't,
Yeah,
maybe
because
really.
it
Jesus
teaches you the
Christ.
puppet system.
Yeah.
It's just like use your feet, press spacebar, and you press spacebar, and the baby's like, and kicks
yeah,
a
and it's
little
really
bit.
bloody and uncomfortable. You're like, I don't want to
Yeah,
see
you're like,
this.
it's so weird. It's the weirdest tutorial I've ever
But
played.
like actually, it's probably the least. I mean, that's still not a very realistic childbirth
no,
because no one pooped in a cup. It's not like an actual
there's no
childbirth.
shit on the table.
Yeah.
There's no half the birth.
There's no one.
Pretty sure the umbilical cord just doesn't exist in it.
No, because that'd be weird. Because it's a video game. Like they
yeah,
wouldn't do
true.
that, you know. But like, I guess there are certain lines that apparently we don't want to cross.
Yeah.
But it's not because like we're not sitting here being like, oh, we don't want to put tits in our content because we don't like tits. It's like we don't want to put tits in our content because it's not something that like it's not the focus of what we're doing. We're not
Yeah.
trying to prove a point about like like we want to do
Look how
tits.
mature we are.
Yeah,
We can put
and I'm not
titties
like
in
I don't
our
sit down and write and I'm like I'm gonna make Morgan Hispanic because there's not enough Hispanic people in my novels. It's like no, he just happens to be Hispanic because that's the character that was in my head.
game. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I said like I was looking at my work. I'm like,
It's the
oh,
difference between representation and token.
yeah. And I looked at my work. I was like, oh, they're not all white. That's nice. Like it just happened. And
Yeah.
I was like, just from the source material, Brock from Pokemon, Takeshi in the novels, Brock
Yeah,
Takeshi.
true.
He's fucking Korean.
Yeah.
And there's actually a racist Korean stereotype in the show.
With
So
Brock.
that's why he doesn't have eyes. Is because they're making
Yeah.
fun of Koreans.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh great, well he's Korean, cool, like that's fine. And that's just his nationality. It's not because I was like, well I'm gonna have to make him Korean.
Yeah, there's a
'cause he's
picture of him
Korean.
with eyes. It's very unnerving.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's like, who is that?
Well, I mean, your version, I was like, that's basic, that's perfect.
No.
I was looking, we were doing concept art the other day. I actually put it on my wall, and I the first time I looked at it, I was like, yeah, whatever. And then the more I looked at it, I was like, no, that's perfect. But yeah, so like the idea of it's about representation, not about.
Who drew
fucking
the
making a
old
point.
Hendrix stuff?
I don't know which stuff you mean.
The stuff when I was still voice acting.
We'll talk about that off camera. that's not a conversation now. I'll talk about that later. But yeah. So yeah, it's about representation, not about making a point.
Yeah.
So a good example is like The Walking Dead has nudity in it sometimes.
I thought you meant the game. And I'm
No,
like,
sorry, I meant
it
the show.
doesn't. The show,
The
yeah.
show often like it'll just be like someone is incidentally naked, or there's like a naked zombie or something. But they never make
That's
a.
one thing that zombie movies never do. There's never any naked zombies.
There are fucking dicks in the wall. There are dicks in the Walking Dead. There are dicks in the. There are
Like
dicks
zombie
in
dicks?
the. There's
like rotten zombie dicks.
there are zombie
Oh,
dicks
God.
in The Walking Dead.
Oh fuck. That's horrible.
Yeah, actually, I've seen a movie with like a fair few naked zombies.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what it is. I think it might be the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Didn't
There's definitely a scene where there's like tits out, beautiful zombie. Like she's
Ugh.
fresh, so
Oh,
it's
God.
like
Didn't
I think I know what you mean.
Didn't Left 4 Dead have nudity? Or am I remembering that wrong?
they like
Am I remembering that
no.
incorrectly?
they were going to. The spitter has some big old saggy titties.
That's
Left 4 Dead 2.
Were they like
Probably what it
considering
was.
not putting the tank top on the spitter? Oh, that would have been horrible.
No, so like there's, yeah, but it's a difference between representation and kind of trying to be token and make a point.
Yeah.
And that's why we never advertise the fact that it's like, yeah, well, we have one of our main characters is Korean, and
Yeah.
one of them is a woman. It's like, no, no.
One of them's a female.
Like,
wow.
And like, yeah, well, like a lot of the side characters are people, and people come from different places.
Yeah.
And like one of the things that I was talking about with the guy who's looking at doing the audio for the premium content, so they're kind of different stylistically, but they're in the same world.
Yeah.
The characters in that are in the Sinnoh region, which is like the China-Japan area. It's like the Asia region. Asia region in that world.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the art style and stuff, and he was like, oh, well, they must be, like, the main characters must be Asian because they live in, like, an Asian place. Like, that makes sense. And I was like, yeah, I guess I never thought about that nationality because it's not that important to the story at all.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, but people, like, it's going to be a thing that all the characters in that are Asian. And I was like, oh, I hadn't even thought about it. Like, it just never occurred to me because I was just writing it because I was focusing on other stuff. And I was like, no, you're probably right. Like, they would be.
Mm.
And then he was like, oh, well, that's a choice that you're going to have to make at some point, is whether or not you're going to stick to that. And I was like, no, it's not. Like, it's just, that's unfortunately that, like, fortunately or unfortunately, they just happen to be Asian.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't like, I think he thought I was trying to make a point about the fact that they were Asian, or that it was, like, on purpose. And I was like, no, just coincidentally.
Yeah.
Because that's the area they live in, right? And so part of that is that there's another culture in that particular novel, which is, like, kind of more indigenous, so they have like much darker skin, but they're kind of more. I think they're more Chinese than the main characters.
Right.
So the main characters are more Vietnamese or something like this. I can't remember, but they're different ethnicity, and that was a big conversation I had to have with the guy that we're looking at doing some of the kind of concept art for that. And I was like, look, you have to make sure that it's accurate, because if it's not, it's like we can't fucking use it.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna make them white or look like anime, it's like it's not gonna work. And that's why I was really confused. Like, I remember when I was much younger, and this is kind of the ignorance of being a child, I was like, why are all of these cosplayers for things like Naruto, why are they all Japanese? Naruto doesn't look Japanese. That's because Naruto has a problem with representation. Because they make all, like, anime characters always look fucking white.
Yeah.
Like, none of them
I read
look
somewhere-
Asian. I think
yeah.
Sasuke is the only Asian-looking character in that show, and that's only when he squints. No, because it's... No.
They want a shovel?
No, I'm about to make a point.
Alright.
So so initially, and he gets less Asian as the show goes on. So that's really interesting.
They like draw him differently.
They did an article on it, and they were like, they were like looking specifically at his facial structure. So the way that they set his eyes and his nose and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he looks, he's kind of got smaller eyes to start with, and he looks a little bit less anime. And as he gets older, he gets way more anime, he looks much more Western. And it's as that
Could it just be
demographic
because
shifts.
that's how they draw like age progression.
Well, perhaps, but then like arguably other characters don't really change the way that they look national. Like their ethnicity doesn't seem to shift like his does. And it was a really interesting article they were trying to it was a point they were trying to make is that this kind of like it's the equivalent of like a AAA game, like Show and Jump manga, apparently, so I'm told.
Yeah. Right.
They were like it's basically them shifting because it's now they've got a Western demographic as well.
Yeah, it took me
So
so long to
catering.
realize like what Shonen Jump was.
I
like,
still
what?
don't know. Like
Shonen Leap, what?
is it like a game where you do like leapfrog but with
Yeah.
bandanas or like you dress like Naruto and you jump over
I've
people?
never been into anime.
No, that's just not a culture that I've been
No.
a part of.
I love anime.
Well, there's the elephant in the
Well,
room.
There you go. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Shonen Jump. Like anything like
what
that.
is that?
so-
Just like it's just like mainstream.
Okay,
They're
so
like a
that's
network,
things
aren't
like
they?
Bleach, One Piece, Naruto.
It's like
I
what?
guess it's like long running, like I guess you could say mainstream, sort of. I
that
believe
like-
I believe Shonen.
Is it like
could
the
be
CSI?
wrong, but I believe Shonen Jump was a magazine,
Yeah.
and it was basically these
where
are
they
all the
started.
animes that started in that magazine.
Is it like
basically,
almost like
or
what like
mangas.
Cartoon Network is sort of? Like
Yeah, I think it's like all these mangas started in this magazine Shonen Jump, and that's why they're Shonen Jump series.
Okay.
So like
And they're all totally similar.
but they're all like extremely long running series with
they're
no
all like
end in
aimed to
sight.
like young adult.
Yeah.
Just CSI.
What?
It's the CSI model.
Oh yeah, because CSI is a bunch of.
Well, there's like so many different CSI shows, but the original
Yeah.
CSI still exists.
Yeah.
They
There's
just
no real end
can't
in
stop.
sight, basically.
It's like
they all
just
have
go-
like a very similar goal, and they all have very similar themes of like friendship and love and shit like that, and goals and
Yeah.
but they all have their one thing that's like special about them. Like Bleach is they're all gods of death. One Piece is they're all fucking pirates. Naruto
Naruto,
is
they're all
fucking
ninjas.
ninjas. and,
Let's be
like-
honest, they're all wizards in Naruto.
Yeah,
Let's
and
not
like
lie to
things like
ourselves.
things like no, but then they've got Fairy Tail, which they are
Yeah.
all wizards
Yeah.
in that.
Oh, actually,
and,
I've
like-
watched Fairy Tail.
You have?
Yeah.
I have not watched
See,
Fairy Tail.
When I say I
It's the only
like
thing I've
anime,
watched.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch. I haven't even
I
watched.
like
Naruto.
I guess you'd say I like more adult anime.
Okay.
Like so, Shonen Jump is
Like young adult.
well, a lot of it is very young adult. Like before Funimation and stuff like that gets a hold of it and does their like dubs for the
Censorship.
English audience, things like One Piece are way more adult than they actually are when we get a hold of them. Like for instance, when One Piece was on TV here, Sanji's trademark thing is he sucks on a lollipop, whereas
It's a
in
cigarette.
Japanese
Smoking.
culture it's a cigarette.
Yeah.
But I guess the animes I really like, I like things like Higurashi, if anyone knows about that.
No.
Okay, well,
That's good. We're gonna
I
be
like-
really uneducated here.
Yeah.
Jormungand.
No.
Just making up words. Like I don't know what you're talking about anymore.
Mirai Nikki, which is
The pe-
time,
the people-
It's
the
like
people could know.
I think it's Time Watch is what it like translates
Yeah.
to, but
Yeah.
also,
No.
no, like that doesn't make sense. It's like I don't know. It's something about time travel. I like the
Exactly.
really like adult stories. So like Higurashi is probably my favorite anime of all time, and it's really good because it takes like that chibi style. It's very chibi. Like it's very
Fucking hate
like
chibi.
childlike, very like it presents itself in one way, but it's not
like
that
super
whatsoever.
violent, yeah.
It's
like Happy Tree Friends.
horrifically violent. Like so the story is pretty much like
I mean, you, don't
you have to
spoil
watch
it.
the whole series to
You
pick
you
up
don't
on
want to
it.
spoil it for the
I feel like
people.
I don't want to
Western-
spoil it, but it has to do with like being caught in a time loop, basically.
I think you told me about
So,
that, yeah.
Yeah, every 4 episodes is a story arc basically, and then it just starts again. So pretty much at the start of 4 episodes, the characters will all be one way, and they'll all go about their lives, and basically one of them will go insane, and it generally ends up all the others end up dead because of this one person who goes insane. Then everyone in the town dies because of this huge like tragedy that's happened, which is basically destined to happen. Time loop kicks in, goes straight back to the start,
Yeah, so
and
it's-
things happen differently this
So it's
time.
like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, it's kind of like
But it's like
But with more
it's like
death.
it's like Groundhog Dexter Day.
yeah,
like-
except it's really interesting. It's like got all these things about like why it's happening like this, and there's like a god of the town which is basically put it in this time loop because she wants this one girl to survive. So she's gonna
She's
keep like
trying to-
the one factor that's always common is when this girl dies, everyone dies. So pretty much basically the god wants to ensure that this girl survives.
So it is basically Groundhog Day.
But like
Yeah.
once you realize that time was gonna reset, wouldn't you just kill it? Like I feel like I would
That's
go
the thing.
crazy.
No one has
No
any
one
memory.
knows.
No, I was thinking
Yeah.
about Groundhog Day. for
No
a minute.
one remembers it except
when
this
he kills
one
himself,
girl.
he just comes
No,
back.
like I become Dexter and I just find out how to kill. Like I just experiment. I go crazy and kill everyone because I'd wake up the next day and it'd be
No
everyone would
one
be alive
remembers the time loops except for this one girl that's destined to die, and she only remembers it because she can actually talk to the god who's like stuck him in this time
again. So
loop.
wouldn't she kill everyone just to
Well,
find out?
no, because she wants to live, and
I feel like I maybe
She,
like
like-
this. I'm like, yeah, but if it's gonna reset, just kill everyone and,
and
find out
she
what
obviously
happens.
can't tell everyone that what's happening, that it's all happened over and over
Yeah.
again, because like they would just accuse her of being
She
insane.
could just kill them all.
But
There's no consequences.
but the point is, they.
So I'm sorry. I'm just thinking.
Yeah,
all I'm thinking about is
not
like
an
Dexter
evil-
Groundhog
There are
Day.
no
I'm
consequences,
like
but she
I would,
wants out. She doesn't
like-
want to be stuck in this loop over and
No,
over
that's fair.
again.
You would go
Um,
insane. But I was just thinking, like, I mean, I feel like if Groundhog Day, like, I would go insane. and
Oh,
kill
totally.
everyone.
I'd kill everyone around me.
I just find out
I'd
the
just
best
be like,
ways
no
to kill people.
consequences, I'll do whatever I
I'd
want.
do whatever I want. I'd just I'd eventually get to the point where I'm just killing everyone every day. Because why not?
Man,
Like, I'm
take away
bored.
consequence, I would be a fucking monster.
Look,
I wouldn't just kill everyone. I'd just find really funny ways
just a mess
to
of
just
them.
create like rude Goldberg machines with people. Like just create a series of events that I can repeat every day, and
And
just
keep
like
adding to it.
yeah, just keep adding
It's
to
like the
how
longest
ridiculous.
domino on the wall.
Yeah,
That'd be amazing.
But going back to like pornography.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking
Yeah,
about.
back to the
sorry,
porn.
I'm just
Anyway,
all I can think about is
Back to
Dexter
pornography,
Groundhog Day.
and it's really interesting that we've like gotten onto like anime and stuff like that,
Yeah.
because there is a huge porn culture within anime,
Oh yeah.
and there are some animes which I've really, really enjoyed, but then you have these
They're like-
really like graphic, pornographic images in
Yeah.
them, and the Japanese culture is very different from the Western culture, so
Mm.
a lot of the time, their idea of what's sexy and pornography and
Very
stuff like that,
yeah.
it kind of, I sit there and I'm like, I'm really uncomfortable
Yeah.
watching this, because, you know, the girl's not always into it. And
And for you, you're like, whoa, no.
yeah.
You're like, no.
There's like,
just no.
there's
None
a lot
that.
of like really rapey undertones and stuff
Yeah.
that goes on in that sort of like.
But that's part of that
culture.
interaction in that culture.
Yeah,
right?
and it really like, I'm not okay with things like that. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, like I can't watch this. Like
Actually, well-
I'm afraid I'm on some sort of government watch list.
Yeah, no,
for
like
streaming this.
You're like, I'm in
right
trouble now. Okay, so I'll give you an example of a game, so I can tie you both into this. But it's
Alright.
actually a visual novel
dear.
that I played. I don't ever like do things like that. But I was like, someone was like, look, you're gonna like the writing in it. It's really interesting and different. And I was like, oh great. And it was around a while ago, a few years ago. It was Katawa Shoujo.
Oh, that's the one with all the disabled girls.
Yeah,
right?
and so the premise is that
Yeah.
you're a regular no.
Just gives me this look.
It's yeah. So basically, the premise is that you're a student, and you have a heart attack, and you end up with this heart condition, and you have to go to a school that's especially for disabled people because they need to have nurses around to take
It's
care of you.
full
and
of
stuff.
cute girls with
yeah.
varying,
And it's sort of
And
it's,
what, you're gonna
disabilities.
stop yourself from having a heart attack?
no. It's like a dating
No.
sim. So
Okay.
so you
It's-
have
it's,
conversations, you go down different paths, and you romance
But
different
they're
people
all
if you want
disabled.
to.
They're all disabled.
They're
as well.
so you know one of the girls
like
Okay.
amputees.
has
and
horrible
stuff.
scarring because she was burned. One of
Right.
them has no arms. One of them is blind.
Sounds like a really strange idea.
It
for
is.
a
One of
game.
them's
It
deaf.
is.
It sounds really weird, but what they did really well, aside from the writing, because the writing is really good.
Writings, yeah. Writings,
Like I don't really feel.
Sounds like it could
things.
be good.
Like I don't feel emotions
Yeah.
ever, right? But I was playing this game and I ended up dating the girl who's got scarring. She's been in an accident and
Right.
she's really shy because of it. And she's kind of got this social disorder. And I got to the end of it and like I was really upset when things went wrong. Like I was like I was like oh
You're torn
fuck.
up
Like,
by your
I'm like-
waifu.
yeah no. But it's a text-based game that it's basically like it's a
So
visual
it's all
novel.
text-based, is it?
It's
Well,
a-
no,
it's
it's
a visual
it's
I
novel.
might actually look into it. It sounds kind of interesting.
It's like you have text on the bottom
There's
of the page.
there's
and
the
you have
pigeon
characters.
one.
But well, hang on.
I do know
The
about
pigeon,
that.
yeah.
I know about the pigeon.
I love and that's basically a parody of the
Yeah,
fucking whatever.
But I was playing it and I was having the time. It's great. But like no one really told me that there was porn in it. And I
There's
didn't-
porn in it?
No,
Yeah,
because like
there's-
so
yeah,
there's
it's
lots of
weird.
illustrations. Like there's
It
lots of
catches
illustrations,
up.
right?
You're
So-
just like what?
But no, so like I'm in this. So but the thing that's kind of talking about what you talked
You're like
about.
ding ding nudity. You're
No,
like,
no,
what
it wasn't
the-
even that. But like I was like I didn't feel it coming. That's the worst thing. It's like I was in this. I was having this conversation with this girl that I was wanting to.
This fake girl.
But like,
to be-
I'm really far in at this point. Like, I'm really
yeah, it's
emotionally
just like
attached.
it's just no going
Yeah.
back.
And
yeah.
she's like, and like we go up to a room, we're talking, and I'm like, that's fine. Like, this is fine. And
Yeah, this
then
is
like,
fine.
no, and then
Tits get out.
no, and then
Yeah.
like, because he's got a scar because he's had heart surgery, open heart surgery.
Yeah.
So he's like, I want to show you my scar because she's obviously got her very visual scars. He's like, I want to show you that you're not alone. And then it cuts to this image of her touching his chest, and that was when I was like, quietly, I was like, oh, this is weird because like I know that this character's uncomfortable with this kind of thing, and then it just got weirder and weirder, and then like they had sex, but like it went from like that to then back to like the normal kind of illustrations they do in text and stuff, and then it was like, okay, then it kind of talks about them undressing and kissing and stuff, and then it just cuts to like a full fucking like porn shot with like penis and vag, like but like not even just like really like
Oh god.
Really,
I like really like graphic, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, where did that come from? And then it got worse, and then it kept going, and there were more illustrations.
And then like when it stops, it just goes back to the regular
It went
game,
back,
like nothing happened.
But the worst
You're
part
what
is
the
like,
fuck?
Did I
it was
imagine that?
like, yeah. And so then
That's a little bit what it's like, yeah.
and I was like, where the fuck did that come from? And it's because I wasn't like, I wasn't prepared for it.
Yeah.
But like that's normal in visual novels.
You got weeabooed.
It turns out, no, it
You
turns
got
out.
spooked.
It turns out that's normal in visual novels.
Yeah, that is.
And so I was like, oh my god. And so that, but then it got worse later on, because then like it was the most awkward sex scene ever anyway, because she was like kind of half into it. Neither of them like really want to do it. Like, it's really weird. And then like afterwards, she was like, I did it because you wanted to do it, and I was like, God, like what the I felt awful for days after that. About like a text-based, so I was like, wow, that really like affected me. But the porn was really unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I did not need to see a dick and vag. Like they could have. I was like, that's so unnecessary.
They even do like the Japanese censorship where it's super blurry.
Oh no! Like there's a scene. I'll try to describe to you why the first scene that made.
You don't have to.
No, but I just want to like. It's to try and explain how uncomfortable it was. You basically got like a full screen, so it's like full size on my monitor, right? And I'm at this point, I'm just reading. I'm really into it. I'm reading it, and it cuts. And the second news, so the first one, like I'm already shocked by the dick and vag thing. I'm like, whoa, dude, I can't get any worse.
You're like
scared. Yeah, and I'm like, go to the next frame. And the next frame. So the next frame is worse because she's lying on her back, right? And he's sort of supporting her from behind. They're no longer having sex. He's supporting her from behind because they've done the penis and vag bit. And because it's such an awkward sex scene, neither of the characters really wanted it, but it was kind of like they kind of ended up doing it. So they stopped because it's not working because neither of them want to do it. And then it's her, and he's supporting her, and she's leaning back, and she's sort of got her legs spread, and he's sort of supporting her. But it's like a
You really don't need to describe.
No. I want you to be as uncomfortable as I am.
God.
It's like a full drawing of her front, but like really detailed. And she's just that. I was like, so that was my experience with like that was the first time that had happened, and I was like,
you had the full otaku experience.
So that was when I was like, whoa, like this is a thing that exists, and people do this for a living.
It's on Steam.
Oh hell yeah.
I mean, I paid like $1 for it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Well, I it was free, but I
haven't played the pigeon one, but now I'm
wanted.
wondering if the pigeon one has pigeon sex.
Probably does. But like I was just like,
Weird
wow,
pigeons.
that's really like that was really confronting for me as an artist because I've never experienced that before. Like in books, there are sex scenes sometimes.
See, I don't think I'd be as confronted because I read a lot of manga. And
so you're ready for it.
It's very common
in manga.
Yeah.
Like it's just like you'll
Just
be reading
suddenly.
and it'll be like, oh yeah, okay. Suddenly there's full frontal sex, and you're just like reading it on a bus, and you kind of like look around and you're like,
shit.
Close this book and put it in my bag.
See, at least with,
I'll
like,
read this later.
At least if it's writing, then well, you're
A
fine.
lot of the time, it's like it's you're not expecting it at all. So I was reading like. I think first time I was reading Berserk, which if anyone of our viewers are familiar, I'll explain it really quickly. It's basically like, so it's all about the Black Swordsman, who's a guy called Guts, and he's cursed so that he basically is an offering to these demon gods, and he's been cursed in such a way that demons are constantly chasing him. He's never allowed to sleep. He's never allowed
so
to
it's
like...
Constantine, but with a sword.
Yeah, he basically, he can never relax. He has to, every night he has to battle demons, basically. horrifically violent. He's badass as hell. He just like
typical
slaughters
Japanese,
demons and
yeah.
shit. But anyway, like
Dude's cutting on monsters.
yeah, and like it's all about a revenge story. He's basically like, I'm gonna go kill the guy who did this to me.
Oh, so it
Pretty
was
much.
written by a 12-year-old.
Well, it's that's a really
I'm
like
sorry, I shouldn't be critical of other people's art.
it's
but
high.
like,
All right, it's high
but like,
fantasy.
yeah,
so
but like it
it's
sounds
really,
pretty. Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, that's a really like. That's a
Reductionist
really,
is the word you're looking for.
Yeah, really.
It's a
easy
reductionist
way.
explanation.
Yeah,
But yes,
there's a lot more going on.
No,
anyway.
I'm dude cuts on
But,
monsters. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Call me
Occasionally in that there are just like straight up sex scenes where women are being molested by monsters,
Joy.
and it's
That's
just
not
like it comes out of nowhere, and you're just like, holy crap! And I guess they put it in because they're like, we want you to feel like these demons are bad people.
You want to feel as uncomfortable
Yeah,
as they
Yeah,
were.
we
but
want you
using rape as a
Yeah.
character development tool is horrible.
Well, okay, the reason he wants revenge is because the woman he loves is raped by basically, well, his best friend who sells them all out to become a god. Gets raped by him in front of him.
That's
he's
still
held down.
That's still
and he
using
has to
rape as a
watch it.
character
It's
development
like the
tool. though.
laziest piece of
Yeah,
okay,
it is.
so I want to talk really quickly, actually. This is a good launching point for something that I am adamant about.
Well, not just that. They're like he also sacrifices all of his friends.
Look, I'm sure, like, there's probably, there's a lot of stuff.
there's a lot of shit that goes on.
No, like, I believe that they put thought into it, and it's a thing that exists, and it's a good piece of art. I believe you, because if you consume it, it's probably not shit.
Oh, it's great.
So, that's fine. But I want to talk separately about this idea of, like, people, and where, the reason, so people have been like before, I've talked a lot about the fact that I don't like to write rape scenes, and I don't like to include rape as like a motive or as like a plot device or as like a character building device or as anything like the
It's
only
pretty easy.
like the
for this.
only reason
Everyone
a lot of
knows
people
it's a
do
bad
it.
guy.
the only
as
reason
soon
in
as
your
it
art
happens.
that someone should get raped is because like a character is the kind of person that would rape someone. Right?
What?
Wait, what?
So,
Come again?
So the only reason that anyone in any kind of content that you're producing, like any reason that rape should be part of any kind of a backstory or anything, is
Yeah.
because in your story there is a character that for some significant reason
Is a rapist.
is a rapist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Not to develop someone else's
So,
character.
a good example of
Yeah.
someone that did it well is in Torchwood in their latest season. One of the main characters was a child molester, and he raped a child. But it was significant because he was in prison for that, and he was on death row for that. But that didn't actually, that wasn't the basis of his character, that he was a child molester. He just happened to be a child molester. And that was, he was in the story because it was related to what was going on in the world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So he was sentenced to death, and then everyone in the world stopped dying. That's why he was relevant, not because he was a child molester.
Like Lee in The Walking Dead game.
What
He's a
is he?
He's a murderer.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he kills a dude.
Oh.
And he's on his way to jail in the
Oh, that's right. And you really
Because the
say,
dude,
oh,
the dude sleeps with his wife,
Oh, okay.
and it turns out he's like a politician or something. He's like
Okay.
someone high up.
Yeah.
Like so, he basically kills someone he shouldn't have killed.
yeah. Oh, okay. And so but then it doesn't form his entire character, right?
No, it's just
There are some theories where it's like, or it's kind of significant.
yeah,
Like
it comes back to bite him a couple of
purgatory.
times.
Yeah, like some of the especially with like some of the characters, like
Know about what he did.
Yeah, like, and they're
dislike
just
him
like-
for it.
well, yeah, and like when they find out, they're just like, I'm not gonna listen to you because you're a murderer.
Doesn't really matter though.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, there's
Most of them die.
Walking Dead.
Yeah, but it's
everywhere.
part of like
The struggle.
well, like it's part of his personality. It's part of his backstory.
It's not really part of his personality. It's just his back. It's
I
who he
mean,
was before.
But there are other things like
But
there
the
are other
thing about
defining
it is-
features about him.
Because everyone,
Yeah.
because in The Walking Dead, everyone is judged on like at first, everyone gets judged on like what they were before the apocalypse. Where in the second season, most people are just judged on what
Their
they
actions.
do during.
Yeah,
that's
during
why
the
they like trust Clementine because she literally sews herself up and climbs out of the fucking thing.
That scene. Where you
Yeah,
have
so
to
they're
sell-
just like, yeah, we should probably trust this girl because she fucking gave herself.
that is the worst.
Yeah.
That's the most.
That was a
uncomfortable.
really strong start for that season. I'm really,
Yeah,
I'm,
and
I,
went
it kind
downhill.
of, yeah, I really liked the start, but I didn't like anything that came after
Yeah.
that.
That's
I
fair.
didn't like.
And
the
like for
second
Lee's
season.
character, like yeah, he was a murderer, but like towards the end of the season, no one cares
Well, it's
because
because
they're
it,
too deep in.
like it doesn't define his character.
Yeah.
Right. So like the problem I have with like using.
Well, it depends. I mean, if you
No,
go
I-
on to then murder more people in the game, like I did,
Well,
you
yeah,
could
but, like-
say it does define his
No,
character.
I mean, if that was the only
I
like-
didn't spare anyone, man.
like if you wrote.
Did you fucking drop the salt lick?
Oh fuck yeah! That guy was a douche.
Okay, so no, but like, say you write a character and he kills people, like that's his only personality trait is that he kills people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a character. You've just written a murderer. Like, you've just written a murder for the sake of writing a murder.
Yeah, it's not a character. You just written a plot device to kill people.
So, like, if
because you probably won't use the murderer for any other way just to kill other characters.
Yes. So a good example is, like, if you write a female character that does a job, a motivation for doing that job is not that she got raped. That's not an acceptable writing practice because it's lazy. Because she could... There are so many reasons why people do things. It's never
even
just one
worse if
reason.
you go, like, someone is doing something because their girlfriend got raped. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
like, that's even worse.
But then you also lean into the damsel in distress thing, which is the most atrocious piece of writing you can ever do.
Yeah.
But you can do it well
I feel like...
in a few exceptions. And Shrek is probably my prime example.
That's because Shrek is amazing.
Shrek...
You
no.
Shrek, don't bring Shrek into this at all. Shrek is untouchable.
I'm not throwing shade. I'm singing its praise.
Shrek is beautiful.
Because Shrek hit... Like, they got it right. They were like, oh, we have a damsel in distress. But she's also fucking badass. Dude, she cuts on people. She kicks people in the... She knows karate. She turns into a horrifying ogre.
Well, it was weird because, like, she was being, like, guarded by a dragon who got seduced by a donkey. And that's how, like, it's just so weird. Like, it's like, Shrek is so fucking stupid that it's amazing.
Well, which helps.
Like, every single, like, thing that, like, you'd be like, okay, it's like, it's an ogre, and it's like, okay, ogres are evil, and this is like, no, he's good. So it's like, alright, they're going to save a damsel in distress from a dragon. It's just like, okay, the damsel in distress is a badass, and the dragon has a thing for donkeys.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
And the knight is an ogre that is actually not supposed to be doing the quest.
Yeah.
Also, can we just really quickly...
Are we talking about Shrek now?
Really quickly.
Wait,
no,
Shrek.
really quickly, though. What is Lord Farquaad the lord of? Like, he has a king. He has a kingdom.
Yeah.
But, like...
He's a lord.
But Fiona's parents are the... No, he has a kingdom. Lord Farquaad has a kingdom, but I thought Fiona's parents were the king and queen of the land.
I think they just wanted to retcon.
So, like,
I'm pretty sure Shrek 2 was a retcon.
So, like, what is Lord Farquaad...
He's just a short evil dude.
It doesn't make any sense.
No,
well,
it doesn't.
Okay, I can fill this one in.
And also, who represents the fairy tale creature's rights? Are they just animals? Like, does Shrek... If Shrek is a fairy tale creature, can he actually own land and want to kick them off on Lord Farquaad? Like, does Lord Farquaad... Like, because Shrek...
Are you really discussing the politics behind Shrek?
No, because Shrek is by definition a fairy tale creature.
Yeah, but he's not treated like one like the other ones are.
But he wants to get the other fairy tale creatures off his land. Are you ringing? Sam is ringing. So he wants to kick the other fairy tale creatures off his land, right?
Yeah.
But Shrek can't own land because he's a fairy tale creature.
No. Yeah, but in the movie, he's treated differently to other fairy tale creatures.
But they want to arrest him the same as they want to arrest Donkey.
True, yeah.
They just can't because he's a
They
badass.
just can't because he's an ogre.
So, yeah.
He forcibly owns that land. So he forcibly kicks all the other...
So he has no legal right to land.
No.
Right? So why would he go to the Lord to appeal to get legally the fairy tale creatures removed? It's fucking bullshit.
Oh my God.
Shrek is a masterpiece.
Maybe because he's going enemy of my enemy with Lord Farquaad. Maybe he's very clever.
Yeah, but he's also an enemy of Lord Farquaad. Lord Farquaad is the one that created the Lord to get rid of the fairy tale creatures.
No, but he's the champion, though.
That's only after he goes there and beats everyone else up.
Yeah, so he's the champion.
Because Lord Farquaad wants him dead. He literally tells everyone to kill him.
Yeah, so he's like...
I'm thinking about Shrek's motivation to leave to go there. Why would he go to his enemy to ask for help to get rid of someone that already hates him?
He doesn't know he's really his enemy. He just lives there, and then those guards came up, and they're just like...
No, because he knows that Lord Farquaad's order, so why would he go to Lord Farquaad?
Because it's just like, oh, he's the guy who... Because he's the...
Shrek's dumb.
No, because the guards at the start, they're like, by order of Lord Farquaad. He's just like, who is this Lord Farquaad guy? Like, he doesn't know about him until...
I realize.
And then through movie magic, he knows exactly where the castle
No,
is.
no, Donkey takes him.
Oh, yeah, true.
Okay.
Jaw. I'm sorry. We can stop about Shrek.
Yeah.
Shrek was...
There will be a podcast
basically
about this later.
the guy who made Shrek. He used to be friends with a guy who worked at Disney, basically.
Oh, I heard about
who
this.
was like
but
the
it was
head of Disney.
DreamWorks.
Or I
DreamWorks.
don't. Was it DreamWorks?
It was DreamWorks.
He dicked someone.
No,
over.
DreamWorks was the guy who
DreamWorks.
did Shrek. Yes.
Yeah.
He was friends with and he worked at
The
someone
Disney
with
guy.
Disney.
Okay.
At Disney. Basically, he got fired by him. I forget what the guy's name is. But he was fired by this guy, so he went to DreamWorks and then worked on Shrek.
And then
basically, Shrek is a huge fuck you to that guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's why when they go to Lord Farquaad's town, which I forget what it was called, like his kingdom, it's basically Disneyland. Like, the whole thing is Disneyland. It has...
Duloc.
Yeah, Duloc. That's
Duloc.
it. I haven't seen Shrek.
Julok is a perfect place.
Yeah, it's Disneyland. They've got their own little theme song, which is their
true.
their spin on It's a Small World After All. Lord Farquaad, whose name sounds a lot like Fuckwad, who constantly they're making
Who's
jokes
short
about,
and has a big head.
Yeah, and they make jokes about that he has a small dick and things like that.
Yeah,
And
true.
they're like, is he compensating for something? He looks a lot like that guy who
Oh, really?
fired him.
Yeah.
They modeled him after him.
Really
That's
rough.
amazing.
Yeah.
Which is basically, so Shrek was just a huge fuck you to that guy, and that's why he's a lord.
And
because
then they milked it.
he was the head of Disney.
Yeah, okay, but
But,
but he doesn't. What does he rule?
It
Like,
doesn't matter. It's a
It can't be
cartoon.
the kingdom of Julok if the kingdom is ruled by the fucking king and queen. Shrek.
Julok isn't a king.
Shrek. Yes.
Alright.
Julok. It's the
he's
kingdom
a
of Julok.
Maybe he's a rogue king.
He's a rogue nation. It's Mission Impossible.
Okay, we need to stop talking about Shrek.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Get back on
Let's talk
topic.
about porn.
Yeah, let's get
Alright.
Okay, look.
Okay, I'm gonna
I'm
do
sorry.
some closing things for people who want to do pornography because we seem to have gone really far off the topic of
Let's
pornography.
get back.
If you want to start drawing pornography, here's my advice.
Okay.
Take life drawing classes. In fact, even if you don't want to do pornography, take life drawing
I can't
classes.
draw, Sam.
Everyone
Draw-
should take life during
I can't-
classes. I'm gonna
Any
take
artist who wants to
I
draw,
can't draw.
go to life drawing classes.
I can't draw.
Like, they will basically, you can find them anywhere, all around Brisbane.
Probably
or
not if you're
wherever
like.
you happen to be.
Probably only if you're doing visual art.
Stop. Yeah, and stop drawing balloon titties.
It doesn't matter. Like, you can literally,
Yeah.
you don't have to have any drawing skills. They advertise them around Brisbane if you look online.
Yeah.
You can go, it's for beginners and shit. They will get nude models for you to stand up there and you can draw
You draw
them.
that
You learn what the human body looks like. You learn how it looks in different stances, where it pivots, things like that.
Yeah.
Helps you so much.
Mm.
That's my advice. That's what I'm going to end with.
Okay.
If
That
you want to make
sounds-
porn visual novels, don't.
No, well, just like let me know beforehand, please.
Yeah.
Like put it like have a thing. At
Put
the
a
start
disclaimer.
That's like there will be full frontal veg, and
Yeah.
you know, like just let me know.
get
And
a
if
heads
you're gonna
on.
if you're gonna write some porn stories and you need someone to illustrate them, maybe.
Well,
maybe,
okay, okay.
maybe
Sam
send
a
me a
shout
little
out.
Well, hang
bit
on,
of a
like,
message there.
But I think we touched on an interesting idea. Is like, just put a disclaimer. Like, just let me know. I'm fine with like your nudity and your porn.
Yeah, I'm
and
surprised it
Yeah.
wasn't like.
But like, it was like not even. I was like, well, how this? You just
Do what I do. Sneak a dick into every
Yeah,
drawing
put a
you
penis. Do
Put
the
a single
there.
frame.
If
do
you
a
look
fight club.
hard
Do the
enough-
fight club.
Yeah.
If you look hard enough, there's
In
a
each
single
chapter,
frame in
if
this
you look hard enough,
podcast of
there's
a
a penis
penis.
somewhere.
A
There's
single
if you
audio
take a-
frame.
If you take a single frame, there's a sound. there's a
Take
penis.
this sound clip. Just go like penis. Now take that because that sounded really. Just put that somewhere in the.
Yeah, no,
podcast.
look, it'll be an no. Look, the thing is, right? Like, just you gotta let people gotta know.
Yeah.
Because different people have different sensibilities. I'm not saying censor your shit. I'm just saying let them know, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna write about just be obvious and clear. You know, don't be deceptive.
Don't cough into the microphone.
Don't cough into microphones. Don't cut to a full just or do the tasteful thing. And if someone wants to skip the pornographic content that isn't the main body, give them a fucking.
Actually, yeah, that is an interesting thing.
What, skipping pornographic content?
No,
Well, like-
skipping content in general.
Yeah.
In
you want to talk about Call of Duty and that scene
no,
at the airport?
that was probably the first one that I've seen it done, but Hotline Miami 2 does it.
Yeah, they have one.
With the
Right at the
intro.
start. I was
Yeah.
wondering if you were going to mention
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Because it's it is a rape scene.
It's the reason, well, it's hardly a rape scene, but I guess you could call it a rape scene. But
Yeah.
it's the reason it was banned in Australia. The opening scene is basically like, you're playing out this actor who you don't know he's an actor at the time, and you don't know he's on a movie set.
Yeah.
He goes through this house and kills a bunch of people, finds this girl, knocks her to the ground, gets on top of her and takes his pants down, and then a director yells cut. And
Yeah.
that's all you see, and it's all pixel art as well.
Yeah,
So
it's-
you can
It's
hardly...
Hotline Miami.
yeah.
Yeah.
you can hardly
It's Hotline
tell what you're
Miami.
looking at. This is the reason it got banned in Australia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is why Australia did not get Hotline
I just
Miami.
pirated it.
Yeah,
like
same.
every other
well,
Australian.
Well, the
'Cause
creator
the developer
said,
said pirate
the
it.
creator said,
Yeah.
pirate it if you can't get it in
Yeah.
Australia. And
Shit.
that's the
Sucks
reason
for
it was banned, because the censorship board argued that it was a scene in which you knock a woman down and you rape her senseless, basically,
Yeah.
is what they said. And that's clearly not what it is. It's all staged. They're all actors. It's a movie set. It
But that's
becomes
like-
very clear.
That's like half the point of the game.
Yeah.
Is like the idea that there is this one character who is technically an actor.
Yeah.
But you don't really know when he's acting and when he's
Yeah.
not. They really blur that line a lot,
well,
which is really cool.
he's a little
That's
bit
really
insane.
clever.
He's a little
Like, really
crazy.
clever.
He gets kind of lost in his character. But
Actually, that's
yeah.
kind of. I mean, that's.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually there's a piece
never
of
really
content
tell
that
if
just
he's dead or
consumes.
not.
It's
No.
the same
Yeah.
idea. I can't think of what it is. We'll talk about it some other time. The idea, where you can kind of blend two ideas at once with that kind of thing. It's like acting versus being that person.
You
Yeah.
thought I was
Really
asleep.
interesting. Huh?
Acting.
Acting. No. I mean that's kind of probably a good place to end. On talking about the idea of like just let people know that it's gonna be porn. What was that?
This is bottle cap.
Okay, great. Yeah. So like let people know if you're gonna have pornographic content. It doesn't necessarily have to be able
Especially me.
Yeah.
Let Sam. Sam wants to consume it. Let him know. Send him an email.
Yeah, let Sam know so he knows.
Yeah. The other thing is like just be aware of where you're posting stuff and of whatever guidelines of whatever it is that you're doing. You have to
Don't
be
do
aware.
erotic fanfiction of fucking kids shows.
Yeah. So
Stop that.
No. So you know what? Actually,
Stop drawing porn
No,
of
erotic
Steven
fanfiction.
Universe.
yeah. Know
doing
what's
that.
okay and know what isn't.
Stop drawing porn of Adventure Time.
I don't want
It's
to
gross.
see My Little Pony porn. No one wants to see that.
Especially when the target audience isn't people over 18. Just
it's
stop doing that.
also not content for you.
Yeah.
It's not content for you.
You can enjoy it, but it's not for
as
you.
a 25-year-old male. You're not supposed to be watching My Little Pony.
I love Adventure Time.
I love Adventure Time.
I just
porn.
don't want
Look,
to.
Adventure Time is
Shit.
a great high concept cartoon that makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Even as an adult, I stare at it and I'm like, that was a great episode. What just happened?
Yeah.
Like, and
bit like that.
they do set
Some of the episodes are just dumb.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
for the
but
sake of
some of it's
entertainment.
really clever and some of it's really not. But it's not content that's designed for you to turn around and draw porn of.
Yeah.
No.
It's not like.
I mean,
it's
we
just
could rant
not-
about
that's-
bronies, but that's a whole nother
That's a
episode.
whole. Well, it's a different thing as well.
Yeah.
But like,
Ooh.
look, all I'm
Yeah,
saying
it
is
is,
like,
to be
just be
honest.
aware of like the content that you're producing, where you're producing it, and what's okay and what's not.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I guess, what we'll end with this particular podcast.
1 hour of porn.
Look, we talked about
discussion.
there was a lot of Shrek in there.
There's a lot, there's a lot of non...
No, look, I think
Non-specific.
Yeah.
well, that's the whole point of this podcast.
You should
is
just
that-
name it like non-specific.
No, look,
And
it's
also
gonna-
a little bit of porn.
It'll be called Shrek.
Porn
Shrek.
Shrek.
Porn Shrek.
Porn
Shrek. Be like
Shrek.
porn instead of Shrek, But no, I mean, like, that's kind of interesting that took us to what I'm very bitter about Shrek. I love it to death, but like, come on.
I don't like Shrek.
Come on.
Really?
What?
Yeah, I don't.
That's
fair
now's a
enough.
bad time.
As someone who's done a year of animation, I do not like Shrek.
It was a different time.
Yeah, I suppose.
It was the only movie I had on VHS as a kid, so
Wow.
I would
Really?
just watch it on repeat.
I had Garfield and VHS.
I had The Land Before Time.
Dude, that's not.
I had
amazing.
Shrek and Aristocats.
Oh,
I
Aristocats.
love Aristocats.
I like all The Land Before Times.
Fair,
I loved
that's
it.
fair.
I still cry.
Alright, at this point, we're just talking about VCRs. We're like, so we're gonna wrap up.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you want to plug, Ben?
My Twitter again, Potasto. And my YouTube, which is now also called Potato Potasto.
Again, you can find those links on our site, on our YouTube account. On
If
our
you play
Twitter.
Dirty Bomb, add me on Steam and I'll
Oh,
kick your ass.
Okay, he's bragging again. Sam's just gonna plug the fact that he's the lead artist again.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I'm gonna do that.
to help him
Just
out.
pretend I
To
did
help him
that.
out, you can buy prints and posters and stuff when those go up. Helps all of us out. Check out our Patreon, which will be in the links and all that stuff on our site.
Yeah.
Make sure you follow us on Twitter to get updates. Rate this wherever it is that you're consuming it. Yeah, I mean, if you want to help us out, the best way you can do that is to rate or to tell someone that you think might enjoy it about us, or buy our products or support us on Patreon.
Force people on the bus to listen to it.
Yeah,
Send us your porn
play it on
images.
speaker.
Just play it on speaker
If
and
you
make
have
everyone
a
listen.
question for next time, podcast at dcm.works.
Sneak into your high school's office and play it on the PA system.
If you have porn that you want to send, Sam at dcm.works.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's about it. Make sure that
I'm probably gonna regret this.
Probably
If
gonna-
people actually
yeah.
end up listening to
if
this.
people end up sending you porn, I apologize. But yeah, so I mean, thanks for listening as always. You can check us out in your usual avenues. Be sure to rate us. I think that's all of the plugging
Yeah,
I
you
need
said
to
that.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, rating us is just like the only way you can help out the podcast, really.
Alright, fuck y'all, I'm gonna
yeah.
go eat food.
So we're out of here.
Penis. The soundtrack's amazing.
Yeah.
The visuals are very well done, and the gameplay is super fun. And because those three things are there, it's exceptionally good.
I could do it in a heartbeat and make millions, but it would feel like just gouging my soul out.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park's a little more like DDR.
If Shrek is a fairy tale creature, can he actually own land and want to kick them off?
Where did that come